My wife said, "Sign or get out," she demanded. In the house I paid cash for, I signed the papers, left the keys, and walked away. The next day, her own elite lawyer called her screaming, "Do you have any idea what you just let him do?" So this happened last month and I still can't believe it worked. I'm 52 and my wife Lauren, 34, had been acting weird for months. But before I get into the absolute chaos that followed, let me back up and explain how I got here. Because trust me, this story is wild from start to finish. I met Lauren 4 years ago at a charity gala in Miami. I just retired early from my estate law practice after 25 years of helping wealthy families protect their assets. I'd made good money, invested smart, and decided at 48 that I'd rather spend my days sailing than sitting in conference rooms arguing about trust funds. She was there as someone's plus one, wearing this emerald green dress that probably cost more than most people's rent. She was gorgeous, confident, and when she laughed at my terrible joke about the rubber chicken dinner, I was hooked. She told me she was an interior designer trying to break into the luxury market. She had big dreams, big plans, and this infectious energy that made me feel young again. My friends warned me, "She's 18 years younger," they'd say. "What could you possibly have in common?" But I didn't care. After my first marriage ended in an amicable divorce 10 years earlier, no kids, we just grew apart. I'd been alone. I'd focused on work, on building security, on being responsible. Lauren made me feel like I could still have adventures. We got married after dating for a year. Small ceremony, just close friends and family. I bought the beach house in Clearwater 3 months before the wedding. Paid $800,000 cash for it. It was my dream place. 3 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows facing the Gulf, a dock for my sailboat, and this massive deck where you could watch the sunset turn the water into liquid gold. I thought I was being smart. I thought I was protecting both of us. See, after spending decades watching families destroy each other over money, I'd learned a thing or two. Before I even met Lauren, I'd set up an ironclad premarital trust. Everything I owned, the house, my investments, my retirement accounts, even my 1967 Mustang went into this trust. It was managed by my former law partner, Gregory, who I'd trust with my life. I had Lauren sign a prenup before the wedding. Nothing crazy, just a standard agreement that said what was mine before marriage stayed mine, and what we built together we'd split fairly if things went south. She signed it without reading it carefully. She was too excited about the wedding, about moving into the beach house, about starting her new life. I never told her about the trust, not because I was hiding it, but because it never came up. The house was in the trust's name, but I was the sole beneficiary with full control. On paper, I didn't own anything. The trust did, but that's exactly how I designed it. The first 2 years were great, I'm not gonna lie. Lauren's design business was taking off slowly. She'd gotten a few small clients, people who wanted their condos to look like something out of a magazine. She was talented, I'll give her that. She had this eye for color and texture that could turn a boring room into something special. I supported her completely, gave her $50,000 to upgrade her equipment, build a portfolio, hire an assistant. I introduced her to my wealthy friends who needed design work. I was proud of her. I wanted her to succeed. We'd have these perfect Thursday evenings on the deck. I'd pour us both a glass of Macallan 18, my favorite scotch, $300 a bottle, and we'd watch the sunset together. She'd tell me about her day, about difficult clients or exciting projects. I'd tell her stories from my law days, about the crazy cases I'd handled. She loved hearing about the wealthy families I'd worked with. Maybe a little too much looking back now. She'd ask detailed questions about their houses, their lifestyles, how they spent their money. I thought she was just curious, maybe looking for design inspiration. I was an idiot. About 6 months ago, things shifted. It was subtle at first. Lauren started going to the gym more, like every single day, sometimes twice a day. She said she was getting healthy, focusing on self-care. She'd come home with new workout clothes, new sneakers, talking about this amazing trainer named Marcus, who was helping her reach her fitness goals. Then came the phone calls. She'd step outside to take them or go to the garage, or lock herself in the bathroom. When I'd ask who it was, she'd say, a client, or just Jess, her assistant. But the calls would last an hour, and I could hear her laughing through the walls. Not the polite laugh she used with clients, the real laugh, the one she used to use with me. Money started disappearing too. I noticed $500 withdrawals from our joint checking account. When I asked about it, she'd say it was for business expenses or a girl's weekend, but the withdrawals kept happening. $500 here, $800 there. In 3 months, almost $10,000 vanished. Then there were the networking weekends. Lauren told me she needed to attend design conferences and luxury expos to meet potential clients. Made sense, right? Except these weekends always lined up perfectly with music festivals in Tampa or Orlando, and she'd come back with a sunburn and 0 business cards. The final straw was the necklace. One morning about 2 months ago, I saw her wearing this stunning diamond necklace. Had to be worth at least $5,000. "Where'd you get that?" I asked casually, pouring my coffee. She touched it like she'd forgotten forgotten it was there. Oh, I bought it. I needed to treat myself. With what money? I thought your business was barely breaking even. Her face went cold. I have my own money, you know. I'm not your charity case. That was new. The defensiveness, the anger. I didn't push it, but I knew. I knew exactly what was happening. I'm not proud of this, but I started investigating. Not because I'm a jealous person or a controlling husband. I'm not. But I'd been a lawyer for 25 years. I knew how to spot deception. And more importantly, I knew how to protect my assets. I checked her phone one night while she was in the shower. I know. Terrible breach of trust. But you know what I found? Hundreds of texts to a contact saved as Marcus Training. Except the texts weren't about squats and protein shakes. They were about meeting at hotels, about how she couldn't wait to be free, about how I was too old, too boring, too predictable. There were photos too. Her and this guy, late 20s, covered in tattoos, probably thought he was God's gift to women. They were at the beach, at restaurants, in bed together. She'd been documenting her affair like it was a love story she wanted to remember. I could have confronted her right then, could have screamed, thrown her out, filed for divorce that night. But that's not how you win. That's how you lose everything in a messy court battle while lawyers get rich off your misery. No, I had a better plan. I called my old law partner Gregory the next morning, told him everything. We spent 3 hours in his office going over every document, every asset, every possible angle. You're protected, he said, leaning back in his chair. The prenup is solid, and the trust is bulletproof. She has no claim to the house, the boat, any of it. But if you want to really make her regret this, he smiled. Gregory was a shark in the courtroom. That's why we'd made such a good team. We drafted a fake quitclaim deed. It looked completely legitimate. Official paper, legal language, the works. It said I was transferring the beach house to Lauren as part of our separation. There was also a separation agreement listing all my assets as marital property that she'd get to keep. But here's the genius part. We created a page 8, an addendum with a clause that voided the entire agreement if Lauren had someone living with her, tried to sell the property, or if there was proof she'd had an affair. All within 90 days of signing. We printed 2 versions. Her copy ended at page 7. My copy had all 8 pages. She'll never check, Gregory said. She'll be too excited about getting the house. What if she has a lawyer review it? I asked. Does she seem like the type to hire a real lawyer? Or will she go cheap and get some sleazy friend to rubber stamp it? He had a point. I spent the next 2 weeks playing the role of my life. I acted like everything was fine, asked Lauren about her day, complimented her new outfits that I was apparently paying for, even suggested we take a couple's vacation to reconnect. She hated that idea. I'm too busy with work, she said quickly. Too busy meeting Marcus at cheap hotels, more like. I knew she was getting impatient. I heard her on the phone one night, whispering to someone, he's never going to leave on his own. I need to force his hand. The lawyer said if I can get him to sign the deed, the house becomes mine and we split everything else. He's too proud to fight. He'll just walk away. Perfect. She was planning exactly what I wanted her to plan. I started leaving hints that I knew something was wrong. I'd make comments like, you seem distant lately, or is everything okay with us? I wanted her to think I was clueless but concerned, the perfect victim. Then I made sure I'd be home on a Thursday evening. I grilled steaks, opened a nice bottle of wine, set the table on the deck like we used to do. When she came home, she looked annoyed to see the romantic setup. What's this? She asked, not even trying to sound happy. I wanted to have a nice dinner together. Feels like we haven't connected in a while. She sighed like I'd asked her to run a marathon. Sure, fine. Whatever. We ate in silence. I complimented the sunset. She checked her phone every 30 seconds. And then, just as I'd finished my steak, she disappeared inside and came back with the folder. She stood there on the deck, one hand on her hip, the other holding a glass of my Macallan 18, that $300 bottle of scotch I'd been saving for our anniversary next month. She'd opened it without asking. That should have been my first clue about what was coming, but I already knew. We need to talk, she said, not sitting down, just looming over me like her shadow made her more powerful. She was wearing the silk robe I'd bought her last Christmas, paid $400 for it from some boutique she loved. She'd cried when she opened it, told me I was the most thoughtful husband in the world. Fake tears, I realize now. Everything had been fake. The robe had slipped just enough to show that diamond necklace. The one she'd bought herself. Sure. Okay, I said calmly, setting down my fork. What's on your mind? She tossed the folder onto the table. It landed with a thud that echoed in the evening air. The sound of cicadas filled the silence between us. I want a divorce, she said. No emotion, no apology, just cold, hard fact. All right, I said. Didn't argue, didn't ask why. Just accepted it. That threw her off. I could see the confusion flash across her face. She'd been ready for a fight, for tears, for begging. She got none of it. All right, she repeated. That's it? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Lauren? If you're unhappy, you're unhappy. I'm not going to force you to stay. She narrowed her eyes. Open the folder. I did. Slowly, carefully, like I was afraid of what I'd find. I flipped through the pages, squinting at the legal language like I was struggling to understand it. The truth is, I'd written hundreds of documents like this. I could spot a badly drafted agreement from a mile away. And this one, it was amateur hour. It's a separation agreement, she said, her voice dripping with fake patience. You sign the quitclaim deed which transfers the house to my name. Then we split everything else fairly. You keep your watch, your clothes, whatever personal items you want. I get the house, the boat, the truck, and we both walk away clean. I looked up at her. The house? The one I paid cash for? It's been our home for 3 years. I've put my heart into decorating it, making it beautiful. I deserve it. And the boat? I bought that before I met you. Community property, she said, like she'd rehearsed this. She probably had. We're in Florida. What's yours is ours. She was wrong, but I didn't correct her. Instead, I flipped to page 3 where the financial disclosures should have been. Nothing there. Page 5 listed all my assets as agreed upon marital property. My sailboat that I'd named Second Wind after my retirement. My 1967 Mustang that I'd restored by hand. My collection of power tools that she'd never even looked at but now claimed were communal property. I could hear her foot tapping impatiently on the deck boards. The sun was setting behind her, turning her into a silhouette. For a moment, she looked like a stranger. Maybe she always had been. "Don't play games, David," she said. She'd started calling me David instead of baby or honey about 3 months ago. Another sign I'd ignored. I looked up at her. Not angry, not hurt, just tired. "Lauren," I said slowly, "did you even read this yourself or did your boyfriend's lawyer draft it for you?" Her jaw twitched. Just for a second, but I saw it. Got her. "I don't have a boyfriend," she said, but her voice was too defensive. "And I had a professional look at this. It's all legal. Standard separation stuff." I turned back to the papers. "And who is this professional?" "His name is Martin Crenshaw. He's one of the best divorce lawyers in Tampa." I knew Martin. He was a hack who advertised on bus benches. He'd been sanctioned twice by the Bar Association for ethical violations. If Lauren had actually hired him, she'd made a terrible mistake. But I was betting she hadn't even done that much. She'd probably gotten Marcus's buddy to print this off the internet. "Well," I said, picking up the pen, the Mont Blanc fountain pen she'd given me on our 5th anniversary. Probably fake, knowing what I know now. "I guess if you want me gone, I'm gone." I started signing. One page after another. My signature flowed smooth and confident across every line. I didn't hesitate, didn't reread, didn't pull out my own lawyer. I just signed like a man who'd given up. Her eyes went wide. I don't think she actually expected it to be this easy. She'd probably imagined I'd fight, beg, offer to go to counseling. The fact that I just surrendered, it confused her. "Just like that?" she asked, her voice smaller now. "Just like that," I confirmed, signing the final page. Page 7. I made sure she saw me sign it, made sure she watched the ink dry. I stood up, straightened my shirt, and looked at her one last time. "I hope it's worth it." "Hope what's worth it?" "Whatever you think you're getting out of this." I took off my wedding ring. Platinum band, simple, elegant. I'd worn it every day for 3 years. It left a tan line on my finger. I placed it on the table next to her glass, right in the wet ring the condensation had made. Then I took the house keys off my keychain. Front door, back door, boat dock, garage. I set them next to the ring. "I don't need a walkthrough or a goodbye tour," I said. "You can keep everything inside. I'll send someone for my clothes and personal items next week." She just stared at me. I think part of her expected me to break down, to show some emotion, but I'd been a trial lawyer for 25 years. I knew how to control my face, my voice, my reactions. I walked through the house one last time, through the living room with the stupid expensive couch she'd insisted we buy. $8,000 for somewhere to sit, but whatever. Past the kitchen with the marble countertops she'd had installed. $15,000. Up the stairs I'd climbed every night for 3 years, and that's when I saw it. The shadow in our bedroom window. Tall, male, definitely not trying to hide. Marcus was already here. Probably had been here the whole time, waiting in our bed while I signed away my life downstairs. The disrespect was almost impressive. Lauren walked me to the front door. She'd put on her smug smile now, the one that said she'd won. Her arms were crossed, her hip cocked to the side. She looked like a queen surveying her newly conquered kingdom. "You'll regret not fighting for me," she said as I stepped onto the driveway. I paused, turned back to look at her one last time. The porch light caught her face, highlighting the expensive makeup, the perfect hair, the designer robe. Behind her, through the upstairs window, I could see the shadow moving. "No," I said, my voice calm and steady. "But you might want to call your lawyer tomorrow." She laughed, actually laughed. "Why? So he can tell me what an amazing deal I just got? I already know. Enjoy your new life, David. Hope you find someone more on your level." She slammed the door. I heard the deadbolt click into place, the lock on my own house, the house I'd paid cash for, the house that was about to teach her the most expensive lesson of her life. I walked down the driveway, past the palm trees we'd planted together, well, that I'd planted while she directed, past the mailbox with our names on it, soon to be just one name and not hers. I didn't have a suitcase, didn't have a bag, just the clothes on my back, my wallet, and my watch. That retirement watch from my old law firm. Engraved on the back, "For a legacy of quiet excellence." They'd meant it as a compliment. My colleagues always said I was the steady one, the reliable one, the one who won cases through preparation and patience, not flashy courtroom theatrics. Lauren thought steady meant weak, quiet meant stupid, predictable meant controllable. She was about to learn the difference between predictable and prepared. I got into my car, Oh wait, I didn't. She'd assumed she was getting the truck, which was parked in the garage, but she'd forgotten about my other car. The 1967 Mustang I kept in a storage unit downtown. The one that wasn't even listed in her fake separation agreement because she didn't know it existed. I called an Uber. The driver picked me up at the end of the street. He was a chatty guy, probably in his 60s, asked me where I was headed. I told him the Marriott downtown. Vacation? He asked. Something like that, I said. I checked into a room on the 10th floor with an ocean view. Paid cash. Didn't use any cards Lauren might be able to track. I ordered room service, a burger, fries, and a beer, and sat by the window watching the city lights. Then I called Gregory. It's done, I told him. She signed her copy, I signed my copy, and she's already celebrating. Did she check the documents? Barely glanced at them. She was too excited about getting the house. And the boyfriend? Already in our bedroom. Saw his shadow in the window when I left. Gregory laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. Oh, she's going to regret that. How long do we wait? Give her exactly 24 hours. Let her enjoy her victory. Let her tell all her friends. Let her post about it on social media. The more public she makes it, the better this works. You think she'll post about it? David, she's a 34-year-old woman who documents her entire life online. Of course she'll post about it. He was right. I didn't see it myself, but Gregory's assistant did. Apparently, Lauren woke up the next morning and immediately started documenting her new beginning. She posted a photo on Instagram at 9:47 a.m. Her and Marcus on the deck, holding champagne glasses. The beach house visible behind them. The caption read, "Finally free to live my truth. New chapter, new love, new life. Sometimes you have to let go of what's comfortable to find what's real. Number new beginnings. Number authentic life. Number no regrets." The photo got 247 likes in the first hour. Her friend Jess commented, "Yes, Queen, you deserve this happiness." Marcus commented with fire emojis and "Love you, babe." Several of her clients commented too. "Congratulations," and "So happy for you," and "Beautiful couple." She was so proud of herself, so certain she'd won. According to Gregory's assistant, who was monitoring everything, Lauren spent the morning making mimosas and planning her new life. She called her business partner to discuss expanding her design company now that she had this amazing beach house to use as a showroom. She called her mother to brag about the settlement. She even called a real estate agent to ask about the property value, already planning to sell my house for profit. She had no idea what was coming. At 11:23 a.m., Lauren's phone rang. Martin Crenshaw, her elite lawyer. She answered with a breezy, "Good morning, Martin. Guess what? I'm officially a homeowner. The divorce is going to be so easy. He signed everything without a fight. I knew he wouldn't have the spine to—" "Vanessa," Martin interrupted. Yes, she'd given him a fake name. "My wife had lied about her identity to her own lawyer. This keeps getting better. Did he sign your version of the documents?" She paused. "Yes, obviously. I handed them to him myself. Watched him sign every page. Your copy. Where is it?" "In the folder on the kitchen counter." "Why? What's wrong?" "Go. Look. A T. It. Right. Now." His voice had gone from casual to panicked. Lauren's smug smile faded. She stood up from the pool chair, her mimosa forgotten. Marcus asked what was wrong, but she waved him off, walking into the house with her phone pressed to her ear. The folder was exactly where she'd left it, sitting on the marble counter next to her empty champagne glass from last night. She flipped it open, confident everything was in order. "I'm looking at it," she said, putting Martin on speaker so she could use both hands. "His signature is on every page. Page 2, page 3, page 5. See? Page 7 has his signature right there. It's perfect." There was a long, terrible silence on the other end of the line. "Turn to page 8, Martin finally said. "What page 8? It ends at page 7. "Oh, God." Martin's voice dropped to barely a whisper, like he was afraid someone might overhear. "Oh, God. Oh, God." "Vanessa, his version has 8 pages, an addendum, a clause that invalidates the entire quitclaim deed under specific conditions." Lauren's hand started shaking. The folder rattled. "What kind of conditions?" Martin read from his computer screen, where he'd apparently gotten a scanned copy of my version. Clause 8. "This transfer shall be considered null and void upon the grantor's substantiated claim of post-separation cohabitation, attempt to liquidate the property, or evidence of extramarital intent by grantee within a 90-day window from date of execution." The words meant nothing to Lauren. She wasn't a lawyer. She wasn't even good at reading contracts. "What the hell does that mean?" "It means," Martin said slowly, like he was explaining to a child, "that if you had someone living with you, if you tried to sell the house, or if there's proof you had an affair, any of those things within 90 days of signing, the whole agreement becomes worthless." Lauren looked up. Through the sliding glass door, she could see Marcus lounging by the pool in his swim trunks. Marcus, who she'd posted a photo with less than 2 hours ago. Marcus, who was clearly living in the house with her. But he signed it," she stammered. "He agreed to give me the house. He signed a piece of paper that looks official, but has no legal standing because you triggered the invalidation clause." Martin was almost yelling now. "Did you not read the part where I told you not to have anyone stay with you? Did you not understand that you needed to keep a low profile for 3 months? You never told me that, because you never sent me the actual documents to review. You told me you had it handled. You told me your boyfriend's friend was a paralegal who knew what he was doing. Lauren's face went white. How do you even know about Marcus? Because you posted him on Instagram with a timestamp. Martin was definitely screaming now. You posted evidence of your affair partner in the house you just acquired, less than 24 hours after your husband signed the documents. You gave him everything he needs to prove you violated the clause. She grabbed the counter to steady herself. Her legs felt weak. This can't be happening. It gets worse, Martin said, and somehow his voice got even more grim. You didn't notarize the documents. You didn't have a witness present. You didn't file anything with the court, meaning even without the clause, this quitclaim deed has zero legal standing. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. What are you saying? I'm saying you have no claim to this house. You never did. The signature means nothing. The agreement means nothing. You played yourself. Lauren looked around the kitchen. Her kitchen, she'd thought. The marble counters she'd picked out. The custom cabinets she'd designed. The Viking range she'd insisted they needed. None of it was hers. None of it had ever been hers. So what do I do? She asked, her voice small and scared now. You pray, Martin said. You pray your husband is willing to negotiate an actual separation agreement with real lawyers present, because right now, you have nothing. No house, no boat, no truck. Thanks to that prenup you signed, you're not entitled to any assets he brought into the marriage. And thanks to this stunt you just pulled, any judge is going to look at you as the bad actor who tried to defraud her spouse. But I have rights. We've been married for 3 years. You have whatever rights that prenup gives you, which, if I had to guess based on how badly you've mishandled this entire situation, is probably nothing. Martin hung up. Lauren stood in the silent kitchen, still holding the folder, still staring at page 7 where my signature mocked her with its perfect, confident loops. Outside, Marcus called out, "Babe, is everything okay? Want another mimosa?" Everything was not okay. Over the next week, I watched Lauren's life fall apart from a comfortable distance. Gregory kept me updated on everything through his network of contacts and some careful social media monitoring. Day 2, Lauren tried calling me 17 times. I didn't answer. She sent texts. "We need to talk. This is serious. Please call me back. David, I'm sorry about how things ended. Can we please discuss this like adults?" I blocked her number. She showed up at my hotel. I checked out that morning and moved to a different hotel across town. Always stay unpredictable. Day 3. Lauren hired a real lawyer, not Martin. He'd quit the case immediately after their phone call, probably afraid of losing his license over her mess. She found someone else, a woman named Patricia Gomez, who actually had a decent reputation. Patricia called Gregory's office. "We need to discuss the property settlement for the Marlowe case," she said. Gregory was polite but firm. "There's nothing to discuss. Mrs. Marlowe has no claim to any property. The prenuptial agreement is very clear, and she violated the terms of the unsigned, unnotarized, and legally meaningless quitclaim deed she tried to present to my client. She's been living in that house for 3 years. She has rights. She has the rights afforded to her in the prenuptial agreement she signed, which, if she'd bothered to read it, she'd know amounts to a small settlement of $50,000 for each year of marriage. That's $150,000. That's it. No house, no boat, no assets." There was silence on Patricia's end. "She told me there was no prenup. She lied. Would you like me to fax you a copy?" More silence. "I'll call you back." Patricia called Lauren 20 minutes later and quit the case. Apparently, she didn't appreciate being lied to by her own client. Day 4. The Instagram post came back to haunt her. Someone had screenshot it and shared it in a local Facebook group called Tampa Bay Drama, because of course that exists. The post got hundreds of comments. "Wait, isn't that David Marlowe's house? My husband played golf with him. Pretty sure cheating and then posting about it online is a new level of stupid. She's an interior designer, right? Good luck getting clients now. I heard she tried to steal his house, but he outsmarted her with some legal trick." The story spread like wildfire. Within 48 hours, it had been picked up by a local gossip blogger who ran a website called Tampa Tea. The headline, "Local Designer's Divorce Drama. How One Instagram Post Destroyed Her Life." The article didn't mention names, technically, but it had enough details that everyone knew exactly who they were talking about. Day 5. Lauren's business started to crumble. Her biggest client, a wealthy widow named Catherine, who was renovating a mansion in Hyde Park, called to cancel their project. "I'm sorry, dear," Catherine said, her voice cold and formal, "but I can't be associated with this situation. You understand?" "What situation?" Lauren tried to play dumb. "This is about my personal life, not my work. Your personal life is splashed all over the internet. Do you know how many people have sent me that article? I have a reputation to maintain. I host charity events. I can't have my designer be someone who's known for... well, for what you're known for." 3 more clients canceled that same day. The assistant Jess, who'd been her loyal supporter, quit via text. "I can't afford to have my name attached to your company right now. Sorry. Good luck." By day 6, Lauren's Instagram comments were a nightmare. Where once she'd posted carefully curated photos of her design work and gotten hundreds of compliments, now every post was flooded with criticism. "How's that stolen house working out for you? Imagine being proud of cheating. Your designs are as fake as your marriage. Hope Marcus was worth it." She tried deleting comments, then turned turned off comments entirely, then finally made her account private, but the damage was done. Day 7, Lauren called Gregory's office directly. She was crying. "I need to speak to David," she sobbed. "Please, I made a mistake. I didn't understand what I was signing. I just want to talk to him." Gregory's secretary, a woman named Helen who'd been with him for 20 years, was unmoved. "Mr. Marlowe is not taking calls from you. If you have legal matters to discuss, you'll need to retain counsel and go through proper channels. I've tried. No one will take my case. They all say I don't have a leg to stand on." "Then I suppose you have your answer. Have a nice day, Mrs. Marlowe." Click. Around day 10, I decided it was time to make my next move. I'd let her suffer long enough. Now I needed to close the trap completely. I had Gregory file a formal eviction notice. Yes, eviction. Because technically, Lauren was living in a house she had no legal right to occupy. The prenup stated clearly that all premarital assets remained separate property. The beach house was bought before our marriage, titled in my trust's name, and she'd never been added to any ownership documents. The eviction notice was delivered by a process server at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday. Marcus answered the door in his underwear. The server handed him the papers and said, "Eviction notice for Lauren Marlowe. She has 30 days to vacate the premises." Lauren came to the door, saw the papers, and collapsed onto the floor. Literally collapsed. Marcus had to help her up. That evening, she violated the protective order she didn't know existed and showed up at Gregory's office. She somehow made it past the lobby security and burst into his office during a meeting with another client. "You can't do this," she screamed. "I live there. This is my home." Gregory calmly excused his client, then looked at Lauren with the cold efficiency of a man who'd seen 1,000 desperate people before her. "Mrs. Marlowe, you are trespassing in my office. You have no legal claim to the property in question. The eviction is lawful and proper. If you don't leave this building in the next 60 seconds, I will call the police and have you arrested. Where am I supposed to go?" "Perhaps you should have thought of that before you tried to defraud your husband." He picked up his phone. "I'm calling security." She left, but not before screaming that this was unfair, illegal, and that she'd sue everyone involved. She wouldn't. She couldn't, but it made her feel better to threaten it. Marcus left her on day 14. I didn't find out until later, but apparently he'd thought Lauren was actually getting a house in the divorce. When he found out she was broke, homeless, and unemployable, he suddenly remembered he had a lot of personal growth to do and needed space to figure out his life path. He moved out while she was at the grocery store, took his clothes, his weights, and, according to Lauren's later rants on her private Facebook, $2,000 in cash she'd hidden in the bedroom. She came home to an empty closet and a post-it note on the bathroom mirror. "Sorry, this isn't working for me anymore. -M. That's when she really broke down. Day 17. Lauren's mother called me. I didn't have her mother blocked because we'd actually gotten along pretty well during the marriage. She was a nice lady, completely horrified by what her daughter had done. "David," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm so sorry. I didn't raise her to be like this. I don't know what happened. It's not your fault, Patricia. She's devastated. She's staying with me now. She cries all day. She won't eat. I'm worried about her." Part of me felt bad. I'm not a monster. But the larger part of me remembered watching Marcus's shadow in my bedroom window. Remembered her laughing as she demanded I sign away my life. Remembered 3 years of being used. "I'm sorry she's struggling," I said carefully, "but she made her choices. Is there any way you two could talk? Maybe work something out?" "Patricia, she tried to steal my house. She cheated on me for months. She humiliated me, lied to me, and threw me away like garbage. What exactly am I supposed to work out?" Silence. Then quietly, "You're right. I just wanted to try. I appreciate that you called. I really do. But Lauren needs to learn that actions have consequences. Maybe this will help her grow." Patricia sighed. "Maybe. Take care of yourself, David. You too." Day 23. Lauren still hadn't figured out the biggest truth. The thing that made all of this so absolutely perfect. She thought the invalidation clause was the twist. She thought I'd tricked her into signing a document that could be voided. She thought the lesson was, don't post your affair on social media. But that wasn't the real trick at all. On day 24, I decided it was time for her to learn the full truth. I had Gregory invite her to his office for a final settlement discussion. She came immediately, desperate for any hope of salvaging something from the wreckage of her life. She looked terrible. Hair unwashed, no makeup, wearing sweatpants and an old t-shirt. This wasn't the glamorous woman who'd stood on my deck demanding I sign my life away. This was someone who'd been thoroughly defeated. Gregory had her sit down. He laid out a folder on the desk between them. Not the fake quitclaim deed, something else. "Mrs. Marlowe," he began formally, "I wanted to meet with you today to clarify exactly what happened and what your options are going forward." "I'll sign anything," she said quickly. "I just need somewhere to live. I'll take whatever you're offering." "Please, I'm not offering you anything," Gregory said. "I'm explaining what you never had to begin with." He opened the folder. Inside were copies of the trust documents, the ones I'd created 5 years ago before I'd even met Lauren. "This is the Marlowe Family Irrevocable Trust," he said, turning the pages so she could see. It was established in 2020, 2 years before you met David. Every asset David owned before your marriage, his house, his boat, his investments, his retirement accounts, all of it was placed into this trust. Lauren squinted at the documents like they were written in a foreign language. What does that mean? It means David never owned the beach house. The trust owns it. David is the sole beneficiary and has full control over the trust assets. But legally, they're not his personal property. They're trust property. I don't understand. Gregory sighed. The quitclaim deed you had him sign? It was worthless from the start. Not because of the invalidation clause, though that was a nice touch. It was worthless because David couldn't transfer property he didn't legally own. You can't give away something that isn't yours. The words slowly penetrated her confusion. Wait, you're saying... I'm saying the house was never David's to give you. The document you had him sign was meaningless. Even if you'd done everything perfectly, no boyfriend, no Instagram post, no social media celebration, it still wouldn't have given you the house. Because the house isn't David's. It's the trust's, and you're not a beneficiary of that trust. Lauren's face went white. But he signed it. He agreed. He signed a piece of paper, that's all. He let you think you were taking his house so you'd expose your affair and destroy any legitimate claim you might have had to marital assets. What claims? What do I have? Gregory pulled out another document, the prenuptial agreement. This is what you have. As per the agreement you signed before your marriage, you're entitled to $50,000 for each year of marriage. 3 years means $150,000. That's your settlement. That's everything you get. That's it? After 3 years of marriage? You're lucky you get that much. You violated the good faith clause by committing adultery. Technically, David could argue that voids the entire financial settlement, but he's willing to honor the minimum payout. $150,000? That's nothing. I can't even buy a condo with that. Then you should have read the prenup before signing it. You should have not cheated on your husband. You should have not tried to steal his house with a fake legal document. You should have made better choices, Mrs. Marlowe. Lauren sat there, staring at the papers, the full weight of her mistakes finally crushing down on her. He played me, she whispered. From the beginning, he knew I was cheating. He knew what I was planning. He let me think I was winning so I'd destroy myself. Bingo, Gregory said without sympathy. That's cruel. That's strategy. David is a brilliant attorney. You tried to con a man who spent 25 years protecting people from exactly what you tried to do. Did you really think you'd outsmart him? She had no answer to that. Gregory slid a check across the desk. $150,000, made out to Lauren Marlowe. This is your settlement. Take it and move on with your life. The eviction stands. You have 2 weeks left to vacate the property. If you're not out by then, the police will remove you. Lauren picked up the check with shaking hands. Can I talk to him? To David? Please? No, I just want to apologize. I want to explain. There's nothing to explain. You cheated, you lied, you tried to steal his assets, and you failed. Those are facts, not misunderstandings. Take the money, learn from this, and don't contact him again. If you do, he'll file for a restraining order. She stood up slowly, like her body was made of lead. She looked 10 years older than she had a month ago. At the door, she turned back. Tell him I'm sorry. Tell him I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I'm sorry anyway. Gregory just nodded. He wouldn't tell me. We both knew it didn't matter. Lauren moved out of the beach house on day 29. I wasn't there. I'd finally gone back to my hotel, but Gregory sent someone to supervise and take photos proving she'd vacated. She didn't take much. Most of the furniture was mine anyway, bought before the marriage. She took her clothes, her design equipment, some personal items. She left the silk robe on the bed, left the diamond necklace Marcus had bought her on the bathroom counter, like she wanted to erase every reminder of what she'd done. She moved back in with her mother in a small apartment in Brandon. She tried to restart her design business under a new name, but the reputation damage was too severe. No one in the Tampa luxury market would hire her. Last I heard, she was working at Home Goods, stocking shelves for $15 an hour. Marcus never called her again. The Instagram account she'd been so proud of was deleted entirely. As for me, I moved back into my beach house the day after Lauren left. Gregory had the locks changed, had the place professionally cleaned, and had a security system installed just in case. I sat on the deck that first evening back, poured myself a glass of Macallan 18 from a fresh bottle, and watched the sunset turn the water gold. The cicadas hummed their evening song. Everything was exactly as it should be. I thought about Lauren sometimes, not with anger anymore, just with sadness. She'd thrown away a comfortable life for a fantasy. She'd destroyed herself chasing something that was never real. But mostly, I thought about the lesson in all of this. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Never mistake patience for weakness. And never, ever try to con someone who's spent their entire career protecting assets from people exactly like you. My phone buzzed. A text from Gregory. Prenup is settled. She signed the final dissolution papers. You're officially divorced. Congratulations. I raised my glass to the sunset. To new beginnings, I said to no one in particular. The funny thing is, I actually meant it. This wasn't about revenge, though I won't lie and say that wasn't satisfying. This was about protecting what I'd built, about refusing to be a victim, about showing that sometimes the best defense is just being smarter than your opponent. Lauren wanted me gone. She demanded I leave the house I paid cash for. She forced me to sign papers she thought would make her rich, and I did exactly what she asked. I signed the papers, left the keys, and walked away. Just not in the way she expected. It's been a month now since this all went down, and I've had time to reflect on everything. People keep asking me if I regret how I handled it, if I feel guilty for the trap I set, if I wish I'd just divorced her normally and avoided all the drama. The answer is no, not even a little bit. See, I didn't create this situation. Lauren did. She chose to cheat. She chose to lie. She chose to try to steal my assets with a fraudulent document. All I did was let her think she was succeeding long enough to expose herself. And here's the thing nobody talks about. I protected myself legally before I ever met her. The trust, the prenup, the careful asset protection, that was all done years before Lauren walked into my life. I wasn't planning for her specifically. I was planning for the possibility that someone someday might try to take advantage of me. That's not being paranoid. That's being smart. My old law partner, Gregory, said it best. The best time to protect your assets is before you need to. Once someone's trying to steal them, it's too late. Lauren learned that lesson the hard way. Last week, I ran into one of Lauren's former clients at the marina, Catherine, the wealthy widow who'd canceled her renovation project. She recognized me and came over to chat. I heard what happened, she said carefully. With your wife, ex-wife, I corrected. Right, ex-wife. I just wanted to say, I'm glad you came out of it okay. She fooled a lot of people. She fooled me too. She's very good at seeming genuine, I said. Catherine nodded. She came to my house once, maybe 6 months ago, and told me about her geriatric sponsor husband who was holding her back from her true potential. I didn't realize she was talking about you until later. The way she described you, like you were some burden she was carrying. I was, I said. I was the burden of financial stability and unconditional support. Terrible things to carry. She laughed darkly. Exactly. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you that you did the right thing. Not the nice thing, maybe, but the right thing. Sometimes those aren't the same, I agreed. She walked away, and I stood there on the dock looking at my sailboat. Second wind. I'd named it that when I retired, thinking my second wind was freedom from work, time to relax and enjoy life. Turns out my second wind was something else entirely. It was the chance to start over, to build a life without lies, without someone bleeding me dry emotionally and financially. I took the boat out that afternoon. Just me, the ocean, and hours of perfect silence. No one demanding anything. No one plotting against me. Just peace. 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten, no return address. But I recognized the handwriting. Lauren. I almost threw it away. But curiosity got the better of me. Inside was a single page, her familiar loopy handwriting filling both sides. David, I know you won't read this. I know you probably hate me. I know I don't deserve your time or attention, but I need to say this anyway, even if just for myself. I was wrong about everything. I was wrong to cheat on you. I was wrong to take you for granted. I was wrong to think you were just some older guy who'd be easy to manipulate. I was wrong to believe Marcus when he said we could have a better life without you. You gave me everything. A beautiful home, financial support for my business, patience when I was stressed, love when I didn't deserve it, and I threw it all away for a guy who left the second things got hard. I know you set me up. I know you let me think I was winning so I'd expose myself. Part of me is angry about that, but the bigger part knows you were protecting yourself from someone who absolutely would have destroyed you if you'd let me. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't expect it. I just wanted you to know that I understand now. I understand what I had and what I lost. I understand that I'm the villain in this story, not you. I hope you're happy. I really do. You deserve happiness with someone who appreciates you. I'm sorry for everything. Lauren, I read it twice, then put it in a drawer. Not in the trash. Somehow that felt too harsh, but not somewhere I'd see it every day either. Just away. Did it change anything? Number. Did it make me forgive her? Number. But it did confirm what I'd suspected. She finally understood what she'd done. Too late, of course, but at least she understood. If you're reading this story and thinking about your own relationship, let me share some advice from a 52-year-old man who learned it the hard way. 1. Protect yourself legally before problems start. Get a prenup. Set up trusts. Keep separate assets. I know it's not romantic, but neither is divorce court. 2. Trust your instincts. I knew something was wrong months before I had proof. If your gut tells you something's off, investigate. Don't ignore red flags. 3. Document everything. I had text messages, financial records, photos, everything I needed to prove what was happening. Evidence matters. 4. Stay calm. The moment I started yelling or getting emotional, I'd have lost the advantage. Staying rational and strategic was key. 5. Get professional help. Gregory was worth every penny I'd paid him over the years. A good lawyer is your best asset in situations like this. 6. face. Don't be afraid to let people expose themselves. I gave Lauren exactly enough rope to hang herself. Sometimes the best move is doing nothing and watching your opponent make mistakes. 7. Know the difference between being nice and being a doormat. I was nice. I supported Lauren's business, her dreams, her goals. But the moment she tried to exploit that niceness, I stopped being a doormat. It's Thursday evening. I'm on my deck with a glass of Macallan 18, the good stuff. Not the bottle Lauren opened. The sun is setting over the Gulf, turning everything gold and orange and purple. The cicadas are singing. The air smells like salt in summer. My phone is on silent. My boat is ready for a weekend trip. My life is completely, perfectly mine. A friend set me up on a date next week. A woman my age, a retired teacher, no drama. We'll see how it goes. I'm not in a hurry. I spent 3 years rushing into something with Lauren. This time, I'm taking it slow. But here's what I know for sure. I'm never letting someone make me feel stupid again. I'm never ignoring red flags. And I'm definitely never signing anything without reading every single page, even the pages that aren't there. Lauren wanted me gone. She demanded I leave the house I paid cash for. She forced me to sign papers she thought would make her rich. She celebrated her victory before understanding what she'd lost. And now she's working at Home Goods while I'm living in my beach house, sailing my boat, and planning my next adventure. She wanted me gone. I left, but I took everything with me. Everything that actually mattered anyway. Oh, and one more thing. Remember how I said Lauren got $150,000 in the settlement? She did. That's not a lie. But what she doesn't know, what nobody knows except Gregory and me, is that I had him structure it as a 30-year payment plan. She gets $5,000 a year for 30 years. Why? Because the prenup said she'd get $50,000 per year of marriage, totaling $150,000. But it never specified how fast it had to be paid. So for the next 3 decades, Lauren will get a check for $5,000 every January, a yearly reminder of exactly what she lost when she tried to steal my house. Gregory called it the gift that keeps on giving. I call it justice. She wanted me gone. She thought she won. But I'm sitting here in my house, the house that was always mine, that she could never touch, watching the sunset and knowing that every single January for the next 30 years, she'll remember this moment. She'll remember the day she thought she'd beaten me. And she'll remember learning the truth. You can't con a con artist defense lawyer. Game, set, match.